from the basement of La Penta, this is WICR.
Hello, Iona College. We are back with Flights Out Sports, segment 2, our NFL Sunday recap. And guys, we had a lot of great games this weekend, but I want to start it off with the New York Giants falling to the Atlanta Falcons 24-20. And guys, it's deja vu for the Giants. The Giants leading the past 2 weeks by 10 points or more in the fourth quarter and just falling apart. And we are seeing the continued stretch over the last 3 years, guys. Tell me, what do you guys think for this Giants team going forward?
Wait, did you say deja vu or deja blue?
Deja blue.
That was pretty good, Rob.
Oh,
I gotta give it to you. That's pretty creative.
That's from the Daily News.
I thought it came up at the top of your head. I was like, wow, Rob's a creative genius.
Okay.
I wish I was a genius like that.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean,
they played a good game though on
they
Sunday.
did.
Like,
Atlanta's a good team.
The score was 24-20 though. Like they played a good game. Just saying. I mean, yes, they blew up that 20-10 lead that they had, but overall, it was a good game though.
They definitely didn't make the right move. This morning they released Preston Parker, and last year that dude had so many drops.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's probably best that you got rid of a guy like that. But I mean, they played the Redskins this week. They should be able to win this one easily.
Mm-hmm.
This division's wide open, especially with the loss of Tony Romo and Des Bryant.
Yeah.
So the Giants are not have it.
The thing I'm worried about, though, Armand, is we're starting to see now Odell Beckham's just about the only thing the Giants have on offense. We're seeing the absence continue with Victor Cruz coming back from his injury from last season. And a lot of defenses, are going to start doubling him up. Mm-hmm. And then the worry starts. What's Manning going to do? Because Manning, at this point, Manning's starting to look like a rookie quarterback yet again with so many mistakes over the last couple weeks. This week with the big fumble down the stretch. And now this Giants team, that's the only thing I'm very strictly worried about.
I think a big X factor going forth with the Giants, obviously you got the big name guys like Eli and Odell who are got to step up, but a guy who needs to be more prevalent in their offensive scheme has got to be Shane Vereen. Mm-hmm. If the Giants could develop Shane Vereen into the player he was in New England, it'll help them out tremendously because that guy is able to open up the passing game from the running back position. He's able to draw defenders. So I think Shane Vereen's a big piece of this giant puzzle.
And Rashad Jennings too. The guy isn't establishing himself whatsoever. The Giants brought him in last season.
Yeah, but he was always inconsistent though. Even in his days in Jacksonville, I didn't think he was that good.
I felt though it was more of he was always injured though. That's what I felt was the biggest problem. And I felt now he's healthier. At the end of the season, he was healthy. He had a couple decent games, but he's just not finding himself as the true running back for the Giants, and that's a killer for position for them. We look at the Giants. Who's their really last great back? I mean, we've had Tiki Barber, we've had Ahmad Bradshaw. Who's really like the last great back? That's the thing that's killing them down the stretch.
If you also look at those Giants' successful teams in the late 2000s and early 2011. It relied on players like Bradshaw in the running game with Tiki Barber. Even someone like who's the big guy, Brandon Jacobs, would have big red zone, goal line touchdowns. The Giants need to establish a run game, and they tried last year. Remember, they tried to with the whole Bob McAdoo's offense. He was trying to establish more of a run game, take it away from Eli Manning. But they need to be more. They need to be more balanced, definitely, Robert.
Oh, most definitely. And going down the stretch, I mean, hopefully they win versus the Redskins. You can't even say, they're guaranteed to win in that one because you don't know what Cousins could do versus them. But hopefully the Giants can get out of this funk and slowly move forward throughout the season. Moving on to other football news. Sunday we watched the David versus Goliath matchup. The New England Patriots versus the Buffalo Bills. And Rex Ryan trying to come in and continue to be the bully in the league with the Bills. But he failed, losing 40-32. I mean, had to give it to him. He was down 37-13 at one point. Team fought their way back, but I mean, we continue to look at the New England Patriots and this team. No matter what, with Tom Brady on the field, the team's just got to continue dominating. Throws for 466 yards and 3 touchdowns, and I mean that's versus Rex Ryan's defense. And Rex Ryan's D, Armand, we know what they can do. Always where he's going to blitz you all the time. But Tom Brady is just a genius. The guy knows how to break down a defense.
The way I see it, I think they've awoken a sleeping giant. Because that whole Deflategate and the 4-game suspension that got overturned for Tom Brady, he's come back and he's thrown for 800 yards in the first 2 games? with what, 7 or 8 touchdowns?
More.
Like the
I bet
guy,
7 touchdowns though.
he looks like he's back in 2004.
And on top of that, Gronkowski is just a monster out there. Just can't be stopped.
Yeah, so New England definitely,
Always remember the quote: "Age is just a number for Brady."
It
no
is.
matter how old
Well-
you are,
Well, no, that's not true. Really, Peyton Manning age has definitely caught up with him.
Tom is just Tom terrific. He's phenomenal. Rob Gronkowski, just total beast. 7 receptions, 113 yards for a touchdown, and with him at the tight end position,
Best tight end. He can go down
He
as the
is
best
the
tight
best
end
tight
all
end
time.
out there.
He can
As
go
a-
down as the best tight end all time.
Obviously, right now is the best tight end in the league
Oh, obviously.
by far.
you
No
know what
comparison.
the killer thing about him is? The guy just gets down the field. He has such a height advantage over the other defenders. That's the biggest thing about him. And then he's so hard to take down. You need at least 2 to 3 guys to pull him down.
And believe it or not, he's got some legs behind him too.
Exactly, he's pretty fast. I seen before
Yeah,
they
you
try
might
to
not
put,
look it, but he is.
they try to put some linebackers on him, and he's faster than them. Obviously, he's gonna outrun them too, and he's so tall and big. It's like you can't even jump over him. He's just a monster out there.
And I mean, now going out into our next game, guys. Miami Dolphins.
Oh God, please.
Jacksonville
No,
Jaguars.
no.
I'm on to
We're not
talk
talking
about
about
this
this.
game.
Well, I mean, it's because you're a Dolphins fan. That's why I had to bring it up. They
This is
fall
horrendous.
23-20. And Armand, me and you had we said last week about Ryan Tannehill, but this week he really stepped it up. We were saying last week how he's very inconsistent at times. He doesn't make big plays. This week going 30 for 44, 359 yards, 2 touchdowns. And you know what? He's stepping up for his offense, but the defense just didn't back him up this week.
Yeah, they make Blake
Jacksonville-
Bortles look like he was Aaron Rodgers.
18 for 33, 273 yards. That's
I
2
think
touchdowns.
I think
That's-
that's statistically the best game in Blake Bortles' career in the first 2 years of his career.
that-
Almost definitely. He didn't throw a pick.
made me regret
I
not
mean, this
picking
is
him
like the
up.
Jaguars' 3rd win in 2 years. The Dolphins should be ashamed of themselves. The Dominic Sue has just been a big disappointment the first 2 games. The defensive line, I mean, how many sacks they get? I don't have any stats in front of me here.
It doesn't
I
show.
don't have them coming
I
up
don't,
right
yeah, I
now.
have them
But
for that.
players like they have with Olivia Vernon and Cameron Wake. I mean, the Dominic Sue should be opening up the gap, and they should just be. Why do these things keep falling off my head? But no, they should just. This front 4 is equally as good as the Jets on paper. They just haven't shown it. The Jets have shown it. And going forward, the Dolphins, they need to get their act together. They're playing against Buffalo, who always beat them in the last 2 years. I think they've lost 3 of the last 4 against Buffalo. So we're gonna be in a lot of trouble going forward.
And in that Jacksonville game, we look at it. Blake Bortles is the type of quarterback who last season was always getting hit on the line. That's a line that Sue should be able to break easily and get into. And you know what? Very costly loss for them. We look at the AFC East. It's going to be a tough run going down the stretch. A very tough loss for the Miami
Blake
Dolphins.
Bortles had a 28-yard run. Blake Bortles.
Looking at the other games this week, St. Louis Rams fall into the Washington Redskins. And guys, the reason why I'm covering this game is, I was big fanatic on the Rams this coming into the season. Nick Foles, they get him in the trade for Sam Bradford, but they make the statement versus the Seahawks last week. They win in overtime, and then just come out flat versus Washington Redskins, who don't have a great passer in Kirk Cousins.
It's a
They
fluke,
don't have
Rob.
a great
It's
running
fluke.
game. I don't know. The Rams are a great defensive team.
I'm sorry, like the way you came out, you was so upset about it. That's why.
I am upset about it because this is my
I
pick
think
for
this
this
team's
year
pretty
to come out in the
overrated.
NFC.
No, I think it's Arizona, man. Arizona's kicking on
If
all
Carson
cylinders.
Palmer stays healthy.
Larry
Yeah, very
Fitzgerald
true.
killing out there.
Oh man, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
other
he
day
found the fountain of youth, too.
in the 48-23 blowout, and Jay Cutler not playing for the Bears. And
I think him and Tom Brady were hanging out at Ponce de Leon.
They that Arizona Cardinals team, guys. Carson Palmer's healthy. The defense is still the way it is, even though the loss of Todd Bowles, and they just hit that team in. Very worried for them going down the stretch. They can really dominate.
I think the Rams are the biggest fluke in the NFL right now. I think it was just they had a great win. First of all, the Seahawks right now are pretty bad too. I mean, without Cam Chancellor, you can see that this defense is not as good as it once was. Cam Chancellor is the best player on this defense. I mean, you can argue with me, say Earl Thomas, Bobby Wagner, Richard Sherman, but Cam Chancellor is the heart and soul of this defense, and we've seen it in the first 2 games.
And the fact that the Seahawks haven't been utilizing Jimmy Graham properly whatsoever. Jimmy Graham, well, I mean, we look at it with Jimmy Graham's time with the Saints. Who did Drew Brees really have to throw to besides him? But he's a guy who gets downfield. Another one who's like a Rob Gronkowski, not as great, but he's another great tight end that's not being utilized.
Offensively, the Seattle's play calling the last couple of years have always been a little bit questionable. We can just look at the Super Bowl, Rob. That play call making Russell Wilson throw a slant route with 20 seconds of what do you have? He had a timeout or two?
But in that situation, don't you think Russell Wilson should have stepped up himself and called the play himself and just say, I'm going to do a running play instead? Because, great quarterbacks do that. They call their own shots.
Not
But
at the time of his career.
Yeah, he was in his third year.
He's a third-year quarterback. You don't make those
That's the
motions
big
at
stage,
that time.
But
That's a veteran coach like Carroll who should know at that moment what to
It
do.
is, but in that situation, he should have said to himself, maybe, it'd be smart to, run it, have Marshawn Lynch run it.
But if he doesn't succeed, then he's going to get even in more trouble.
But we all thought it was going to be a running play, though. That's the thing,
It
though.
should have been a running play.
Because
Marshawn Lynch.
they had the momentum. Marshawn Lynch was killing. They had the momentum. They're only a few yards away, a yard or two away or so?
I think they were at the 2.
Exactly. So, obviously, you would say, hey, let's keep running it. But no, they decided to throw the ball, which obviously cost them the Super Bowl.
Yeah, most definitely did, and they probably still have nightmares of that every
But
day.
even on a play like that, you throw a fade route in the corner that can't be picked off. You throw it to your tallest receiver. You don't throw a slant route right in the open of the field where someone can just come from the backside and steal it.
I mean, it was a good play though. That's the thing.
No, it
like,
was a good play.
It was. If you seen it, it actually was a good play. It's just
I don't know.
the defender was there at the right moment.
All right, so we just gave you guys our Sunday recap for the NFL. When we come back, segment 3 will cover Chip Kelly on the hot seat for the Eagles. I mean, we're looking at it. They're 0-2 right now. He demolished his team in the offseason, and just a lot of worries going on in Philadelphia. But we'll be right back after this commercial break.
You're listening to WIC.